In the last 3 months, my iOS apps went from $600 per month to $2,600 per month. Here are 5 things that changed. In this video, I want to share what worked for me because my portfolio went from nice side hustle to something that can pretty comfortably replicate a monthly income for some people. So the first thing is I did a lot of experiments with pricing. Initially, I tried just to have weekly and annually. I tried monthly and annually, but the best thing that worked for me, adding a lifetime plan, because I think people are super tired of subscriptions, and if your tool doesn't have a recurring, it's a local tool, you don't have account, you don't need to pay for server, lifetime plan might be something you should give a shot. Right now, my current pricing is $5 for a weekly plan, $15 for a yearly plan, and $19 for a lifetime plan. So this pricing ladder only makes sense because I want to sell as many lifetime plans as possible in the first session. I understand that in real world, most people will not pay for my app 5 years in a row. The retention is different in B2C than B2B. So if I can get all of money on day one and never think about any costs, I think that's a good deal. Obviously, the pricing is kind of too low, and I want to make better apps and improve the existing apps so I can climb to maybe $49 per lifetime. But right now, it is what it is. But adding lifetime plan really pushed everyday sale 2x for me. So I definitely recommend experimenting with pricing. I tried adding parity pricing. I tried to add bigger free trials, 7-day. Some things I liked in those experiments, some things I don't think quite worked out, but this is something that I definitely think was the biggest revenue impact on my portfolio. So the next thing is I did a lot of localization. Initially, when I launched my apps, I didn't even know you can do it. I just had 4 screenshots, App Store metadata, but then I discovered that doing localization can impact downloads, at least downloads a lot. So the thing is, if your app, you have an app, let's say calorie tracker, most people will search for it in English, sure, but in many countries, people will go and use their local language to search for this app. And the thing is, if you don't have these keywords in their language, you will have harder time ranking for them. And it's quite an easy job. You can actually do most of these with Cloud Skill. So there are multiple layers to it. First, you have App Store Connect metadata. So things like name, subtitle, keywords, promo text, description, all of them can be translated to be in the language of the user. For example, in Italian, in French, in Mandarin, in Japanese, whatever. This is the first level of localization. This is fairly simple thing to do, and Cloud Code can do it even without your intervention. All you need to do is just to make sure to cover as many localizations in App Store as possible. Next step is a little bit harder. Next step is screenshots. So with screenshots, the main thing you are looking for is to localize the text that you have on a screenshot, because again, if your full App Store page is in German, but then a person looks in the screenshots, they are in English, this might be just a little bit weird. And I think people, especially when they search, and you see 10 apps, you look at the screenshots first. Nobody reads promo text or description that much. So having localized screenshots is definitely a good thing to do. Again, it's not a hard thing to do. Depending on what is your current screenshot situation, here's what I recommend. In Figma, you can create images without the text. So only the background plus iPhone mockup or Apple Watch mockup, and then you create a folder in which AI will just burn in the text to your screenshots. So in this way, you don't actually need to produce 50 screenshots. AI will do it everything themselves. And again, it's not that hard. AI is pretty good at translating headings and just burning them in. You need to probably have one test run to make sure you like the font, you like the size, but overall, again, it's pretty simple job. And then you can just use Cloud Code to submit those screenshots to App Store to not do it yourself manually, because actually App Store has an amazing API, a lot of things are covered. And yeah, if you ask Cloud Code, how can it do it? It will tell you everything. You just use a fast lane skill, I think. So it's kind of simple thing to do. And the last level of localization is app localization. Here's the thing. Obviously, you want to convert user in the App Store to download app, but then they open app, and if they were under impression that your app is localized in German, but they open app and it's not localized in German, you might have some confusion here. And for most people in, for example, European countries, it might be okay, but if you have maybe an older audience and or some people that are not that fluent in English, maybe the app is really complicated in English, you need to localize the app too. This is a harder step since there are way more work here. Even if your app is not that text heavy, Again, let's think about calorie tracker. You obviously have buttons, you have today's calorie, today's protein, today's fats. Still, that's a lot of strings to translate. Here, I definitely recommend to slow down and not to localize to all languages possible, because this will be just a harder job to do. I had 27 languages, I think 27 or 28 right now that I translate each app to. Again, I have already skills that I just use. I just tell Cloud Code it's time to localize our app. If I add some features, I say finish localization, so it finds the strings that are not translated. My main tip here is to definitely make sure every string is translated, because on the first run AI will miss some strings because they're not as obvious. They're not just text strings, they may be something that is compound from multiple things. So just take a look, and I definitely recommend doing it. From my experience, even countries like Germany, France actually have a lot of people who will prioritize their native language above English at the rates that are surprising to me, right? And when I added a convenient way to communicate to me via email, a lot of people from Germany and France, what surprised me, just write in their native language. They don't even think that I might not be able to understand it. So definitely give it a try. Localization is great. It will not 10x your revenue probably, because, for example, if you add, let's say, Italian localization, this doesn't mean that all of these people will convert. It just doesn't work this way. This is just a conversion optimization thing. It might make the app more fit for some people, but still, it's just a nice thing to do and a good app store optimization technique. And the most important, that for many regions, if in your niche, you can become number one as an app. Because again, in App Store in US, you have millions of calorie trackers. But if you, for example, build an app and it's localized in, let's say, Slovakian, you will have just more chances being in the top, even if you don't have a lot of reviews. And it works kind of for a lot of niches. So I definitely recommend doing it. The third thing that worked for me really well is Apple Ads. So the thing with Apple Ads is they're really easy to start, they are easy to maintain, and I love them compared to Facebook or Google or TikTok. They're really simple. And the first campaign you can even do completely yourself from the Apple Store account, and it will take you maybe 10 minutes to understand what settings to set up. I read a really good guide, and I will leave it in the description. It's really well. You can again give it to Cloud and it will summarize. And actually Apple Ads have a very nice API/MCP thing, and it takes a little bit time to set it up because you need a second account, but again, Cloud Code can do just everything. First campaign, I did it myself. Every campaign after every change, I just give feedback to Cloud Code. It analyzes metrics. It says, let's pause this campaign, this. A few tips from my experience. First, the most important tip is only spend money on apps that can convert on a good level. So, for example, if you have a super vitamin app and you see that you don't have a funnel right now, you see that people download it and they don't convert, this is not a good sign to buy more installs, because they will not just convert. And I tried on multiple apps. I have one high-performing app because it's a painkiller. It's made for people who don't have, who need that app. They not want, it's a need for them, and it performs really well. So the app impacts a lot. Some apps will not work in Apple Ads because they are vitamins. Second, test a lot of geos, because it's a very easy thing to just go and buy Apple Ads for United States, but the bid there might be crazy, and you will just not have the unit economy to it off, because it's so expensive to get an install and the competition is insane. For me, what worked really well, a lot of European countries, the best one is Germany, and like Netherlands, France, even United Kingdom is not, because it's still too expensive. So definitely, look, the guide gives a lot of good tips how to approach it. And yeah, I recommend trying Apple Ads. It might not work, but here's the thing. If all you do is App Store optimization, Apple Ads might be a good fit, because for apps that are ranking well, okay, you need Apple Ads. They are already ranking in the top 5, top 10. But if you build an app and it's, 40, it's a good idea to push it with Apple Ads, get installs, get reviews. This will push your App Store optimization too. So yeah, definitely recommend it. I wanted to do some ads, but I'm always as TikTok ads, because they take just too much time to maintain, a lot of time of creative. Yeah, and ads from my experience also are not that expensive, and it's hard to spend all the money, because again, in some countries it's just not that many people search, but you can be the app they click on. So that's really good. The fourth thing is really important. I improved a lot of my apps. So I actually built a bunch of new apps in that period. They didn't perform as well, but going back and improving apps really changed a lot of things for me. And I think it's really important, especially if you're vibe coding apps. It's very tempting to just launch an app and forget about this, but it's really important to go back and think, okay, how can I make it better? And when you think about how can I make it better, this is multiple level question. How can I make onboarding better? How can I make the session better? How can I improve the retention of my apps? It really helped me to have those, like something, write an email. A lot of people write these emails and I just ship what people mention. If they don't like a UI, if they find some logic wrong, I just ship these updates. Also, I think, improve the app. From my kind of now, a few things really is a good idea to focus on. So first is making it easy to start using the app. Easy it is to add something to track, start the session, whatever. Trying to make it as easy as possible is really good. Second is, and this is my experiment right now, I'm trying to add, achievements to make the tracking more fun. So yeah, you just want to go back to app because you have those, you want to hit. You can go beyond streaks. Streaks is level one of, so that's also important. And yeah, definitely improving UI that you use in onboarding. These are all super important things. So improving apps really helped me. And, for example, I launched them and they didn't perform. Then I found a problem that one user said, and, really change how app performs because it was actually a major pain point for everyone. I just didn't understand it. And the final one, be a little bit patient with it, especially if you kind of build with app store optimization in your head. It takes time to ranks. You just need really rush the audience to search more for your app. And patient about this and not quitting was really good because when I launched 6 months ago, my first app, it didn't make as much money, I want, and it like kind of for a long time like zero. Then I launched second app, it was more successful. So anyway, just being patient, just not quitting, not having oh, I need to do something else. No, just try to do, have free time. Okay, do some localization. Okay, you can try Apple Ads campaign on some country. You can improve apps, go study onboarding, but just waiting. If you have already signals that the app is making money, play long term because you do apps optimization. Patience is really a good tip and it worked for me for sure. It need to be more calm and not, the situation, because obviously when you build apps and you look at, months, it's not good. But if you don't quit, at some point you will see more. That's the conclusion that I got from this experience. So this is my situation right now. My apps currently are kind of stuck at around 3K, and a summer period, so it doesn't really help that much to me, but I'm doing a lot of things to try to scale to 5K. It's not net 5K obviously because I have Apple ads, but I do only for one app. Hopefully I will be able to have more painkiller apps, but still very happy with the progress, and hopefully I will share more updates about the revenue in the next videos.